Hello, everybody, and welcome to Girl Let's Agree to Disagree. We have an amazing show today, have a lot of people. So before I introduce everybody who's going to be on our panel, make sure you click like, subscribe, click to receive those notifications if you are new to this channel. It helps the algorithm. Also, Super Chat is a great way to support our channel. So as of right now, we are going to be introducing our guests and our hosts. We have Mr. Big Brother THRU, Mr. Busy Blue,
Yay!
Miss Hannah Claire, and we have one of our guest hosts, Miss Madison McGee. Yay! We are also we're also going to have Brayden on. He's running a little bit late, but he'll just jump right on. How is everybody doing this fine Saturday afternoon, morning? It's afternoon for some, it's morning for some, and it's midday for me. So how is everybody?
It feels good. It feels good. We're celebrating Valentine's Day weekend today. So it's this weekend. So I take Saturday and Tata Bay takes tomorrow. You want to see? I'm gonna show you all what I did with our house while he was sleeping.
Oh
yes.
That is the cutest. Oh,
and we got so cute.
And we got Mr.
Brayden. Yay!
Hello. How is everyone?
We're doing all right.
Good. Busy was just showing us his decoration for his boo. It's so cute.
Yeah, I decorated the whole entire house, and it's with balloons of us. Sorry, I was watching somebody talk about Big Brother. Yeah, it was really nice.
Move over, Kanye.
Wait, I'm Tay's friend. Do I get a Birkin bag?
Yes, you do.
Okay. I want to double check. Oh my gosh. I know. Oh my gosh, everybody. It's been a wild few days. We're really excited. Today, we're going to be talking about the last 3 episodes. I know it's going to kind of go back and forth, and we're going to talk about some spoilers a little bit later on. We have, within this time frame, an HOH, a veto, an eviction, and a new HOH, which we'll talk about all the way at the end. I know it's kind of crazy to talk about 3 episodes at once, so bear with us. Let's go back into Wednesday as we say goodbye to Mirai. Oh, we say goodbye to Mirai, and we say hello once again to Misha as the new head of household.
Yes, I stand.
No.
Show of hands.
I'll just be over here.
Misha, right? Show of hands. Who is a Misha Tate Stan account?
That only counts as 1.
No.
Just 1.
I cannot with Busy.
She got her foot on y'all necks, okay? Firmly placed on y'all necks. And I stand it. I love it. This is what I look for in Big Brother. She gives it to me every episode. If Misha wasn't here, I don't know what this show would look like, okay?
She just has no one to compete with. There's no one who can compete with her, like, genuinely on some of these competitions. So it's just not... She needs like 2 other people who can actually like be neck and neck with her in some of these things. Because the other ones, I don't even think they understand the rules in any of this. They don't know anything.
It's true.
I agree. I think that, and I said this on yesterday's video, it's unfair because I feel like her and Todrick, they're like celebrity-ish adjacent, where they need the money and they fighting to get this money and the stardom and the fame and the screen time. And these other Cynthia been on TV for years. You got Carson, who's he got back-to-back shows on television right now. You have, everybody knows Lamar Odom. My mother was a fan of the time. Now he probably need the money too. But we have people who are playing a real Big Brother game with celebrities. And I feel like it's unfair sometimes where they're like, look, I'm fighting to get this cash. And you have other ones who are like, I'm just going to put cucumbers on my face and take a bath.
Am I crazy? I don't think Todrick is out here struggling. Like,
no, he's not struggling now. But I feel like he does he could be on the little screen and the big screen. I feel like he's probably like, look, it's time to break out now. I've been a Todrick fan for years. But I still feel like there's more feats that he can barriers he can take down, and he's not there. He's not there yet. So I feel like this is something that they could use and to catapult them to the next level. While these other people, they've been on that level already for the longest time. I mean, come on, it's the face. It's Cynthia Bailey. It's Carson, who has 2 shows on Fridays. He has RuPaul's Drag Race and Celebrity Big Brother, both on at the same time. Like it's like they're good, and we got these other people who are like, I'm about to play and I'm about to win.
But like, don't you think, like we were talking about this last night, Celebrity Big Brother is like not the same as regular Big Brother. Like I feel like Celebrity Big Brother is like full social strategy. Like, yes, Misha's winning comps and whatever, but that would be great in a summer season. I don't feel like that plays out very well in a celebrity season where people don't know the rules. So they're just annoyed by it instead of thinking like, oh, that could help me. I could use that, because they're not thinking strategy. It's all social, in my opinion.
I agree. That's what I hate about it, because she's playing a good. I feel like she's the bad Janelle. Like she's giving me Janelle vibes, but it's just people don't like her.
There's a difference. I feel like there's a difference between playing a good game and just winning a lot. There's a difference, you know? And I think that we sometimes blur the lines a bit, where I'm like, oh, they won so much, they're so good at the game. But I mean, you can win a lot
through her moves.
We've seen a lot of good people lose the game because of jury management.
I don't think she is thinking through all of her moves, though.
You don't think so?
You see multiple times she agrees to something, and then an hour or whatever later, she'll come back and she'll be like, you know what? I actually thought about this, and I don't think this is that good for me. And it's like,
it made no sense.
You just don't like. That wouldn't pan out in a regular season, I feel like, also, because people would be pissed. They'd be like, why are you constantly going back and forth on your word in this way?
I don't say shut up and win the comp.
I don't think she's like steamrolling the social game or anything like that per se, but it's just, I feel like she's dominating these competitions because people just don't even understand the rules 90% of the time, especially we haven't gotten to it yet, but the button one, that was just, Lord, that was just a mess.
Like, I think realistically, like if you look at who's in the house or remaining in the house, like who's going to win these competitions? You know, we have a giant Lamar Odom squeezing himself onto a ski lift, trying to, hold all these buttons. We have Chris Kattan, who's obviously struggling physically with some pain. So to be able to maneuver his body in those sort of positions, it's not looking too good for him either. Cynthia, lovely lady, a little older, not moving, hey man, all I'm saying is that these competitions might have to be adjusted a little bit for Celebrity Big Brother versus a regular season, because it's a different type of casting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's talk about that, because that's the first. The ski lift is literally the first. That's the HOH competition that Misha won. We've had this since. I mean, a lot of these, comps are pretty much recycled. We had this competition in season 21 of Big Brother, except it was on it was on a jet ski, and it was a veto. But the difference here is, as they were trying to take off clothes off the jet ski and jump into the pool, nobody was really watching them. So I was very surprised. Was anybody else very surprised that people were watching as they were playing this competition and kind of like taking either tips and tricks of like how they were maneuvering?
I never thought about that, but that's a really good point. That you like, if you're the last person to go, you've now seen everyone else already do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was like one of those things. And it's kind of funny because you see like someone like Misha, who was just so very calculated. THRU as well, who is just trying to use his big booty to just, to make sure he had at least one always, always down. And then you have Cynthia, who literally did not care. She's just like taking off a glove. She's not even holding on to anything. She's like, I think Chris Kattan did more in terms of strategy. than she did on that competition. It was a little. I was like, what is going on?
When they showed him first and it said max out, I was like, they're not even gonna embarrass this man and put the time on here. It was just
when I saw that, I was like, oh, max out is like usually 30 minutes in Big Brother, and then the next person was like 60 minutes, and then the next person was like 70 minutes. I was like, what was his time if he maxed out and like you're still showing 70 minutes?
He's just literally not touching any button at any point in the time. So it had to have been like 100 times the time.
Yeah. That was the thing.
Like, is going to finish or one?
We're probably watching this thinking that it was actually 60 minutes that they're just watching this person undress. But, you know, mind you that each button is like times 10. Well, each button is either times 10 or times 30. So it wasn't really 60 minutes. I'd probably give it a good 15, maybe 10.
Yeah. Maybe. One of the buttons was times 60 though. So it would add a minute every time, like every second that would go by. So it was probably a while. I don't know. Sorry, what were you saying, Drew?
I was saying Lamar still had a white tee on when he buzzed in. Todrick was like bare chest. So I'm like, oh, maybe, obviously I'm sure they're probably hiding Lamar's tattoos or whatever he has tattooed on him. But I was like, oh, very interesting that how it's just like, that extra, not like Lamar had a chance anyways, but just saying.
Yeah.
So we go out of right. So Meisha wins. Meisha wins the HOH. It's her second HOH. I'm sorry. Let me start by saying if I have a stank face, I apologize. It's not my intention. I don't really care for her. So but on my
that's
Twitter,
the intention.
But on my Twitter account, it will say MEISHA'S Stan account just because I don't want my ass kicked. Okay. I just want to let everybody know that. Unlike Busy, I'm a fake MEISHA'S Stan account. He's an actual Stan account.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Chris Kattan account, so forever.
Chris Kattan?
Love.
I'm obsessed with him. And I was the one in the pre-thing that I was like, yeah, he'll be first out. He's not gonna get along with anybody. I don't know who this man is. And now I'm just like following his every move. I'm looking up like YouTube videos of what he's done before because I'm like, I need more.
He's so funny. He is so funny.
We need
Ronda Rousey.
We do. I mean, I feel like she just has this air of cockiness to her. Like there's no like, great, you're a winner. Great, you're a competitor.
And you're mad about it.
No, I'm not mad about her being a competitor. I just feel like she's a sore winner. I feel like she does not acknowledge anybody else in the house. She's not social. I think I agree with what Madison said. On a regular Big Brother season, this might fare well, but it might not either because she has zero social game other than Todrick. And I honestly think they're toxic for each other. I think that they are their own demise in terms of how the house sees them. I think she's no good for his game and he's no good for hers. Like they have definitely made themselves a target because they are involved with the other person. That's my personal opinion. Someone like Todrick who had a 6, who got out of a 6 and said, I'm a Miesha Tate Stan account, and that's the only person I'm gonna roll with. And then Miesha pretty much doing the same, and not really thinking, like you said, not really thinking clearly because at this point, and we're going into it, but she decides to later on put one of her allies on the block because he is not for someone he's not someone's ally, not because it's good for her. It's definitely not good for her game, right? Because he's there for her. She's mad that he's not there for Todrick. So that's where and that's Big Brother, right? Like you get along with someone and someone doesn't get along with another person and now you have to manage that relationship. But she does zero. So I really would not, I really just don't see her here for very long.
It's still so odd to me that pairing, Todrick, Misha. Like when we were doing this like preseason, and we were like, well, Todrick's definitely gonna bunch up with Carson, Cynthia, Shayna. Like that's gonna be a 4. They're gonna get along. Where did this come from? Because I've been watching this whole time, and I don't understand how they have become so tight and why they are so like infatuated with each other. I don't get it.
Does anybody want to chime in?
I think he could have won the game had he stuck with his initial alliance, like out of Carson and Cynthia and Shayna, like he would have won the final HOH comp. Like I think he would have won the game. And I'm curious to hear or read at the end, like what his thought process was besides like, oh, I just have this connection with her, which he said multiple times, but I don't know how you could. Her eyes scare the crap out of me. But I don't know.
To stop this dragging. My God. Okay.
Her diary room sessions, I'm like covering my cat's eyes. Like, don't look. Can't look.
Busy, you always do this. You always pick the person that is like the most
Thank you, Hannah.
On a season. And you ride for them so hard. I don't understand.
I be feeling like my back be against the wall just in life, okay, as a black man. So when I see somebody else back being pushed against the wall, I say, now hold up now. Somebody got to come up in here and represent. And I don't feel like I do. For one, I feel like age is probably what brought them together. I just looked them up. They the same age, whatever, 1 year apart from each other. So they have a commonality there where the other people, 50s, okay? And they can relate to aches and pains and all of that stuff and what they doing over there. Who got their AARP card first? What are y'all doing with that? Like they can relate on that type of stuff. And you know, you can only talk to people that much older. Shout out to Mariah, for so long. And
I've been doing this podcast with you for months.
Whoa! The youngest one. I just turned 30. So am I.
I also feel like it's probably also because I think Misha and Todrick both came in playing very heavy, very quick, and I think that probably was like very relatable for them because no one else was really, gaming, and Misha was like, "I'm here to play. I'm here to do this. I'm here to do it," and I feel like that probably was very appealing to Todrick because he's like, "Oh, this girl's here to play. She wants to win. I'm here for that as well."
Okay, now I have a question then. We saw this in BB23. Is the goal of Big Brother, though, to beat the best? Like, if he was going to ride with her to the end, that's a risk that you take because she is winning comps and she would build a resume. Is that the point? Is that a strategy to win? That's tough, too.
I think he was, like you guys were saying, he was in an ideal situation in terms of where he stood with that original 6. He was the youngest of that group. He was probably the most athletic of that group. And then now when he kind of, linked up with the athlete side of the house, he put himself in a tougher situation, which made him, have to elevate his game, which also made him be more of, I guess, a strategic, in terms of who he's targeting. But I think it's really, really unfortunate the demise of Chris Kirkpatrick and what he kind of did that first week in terms of sticking his neck out and trying to reel her in. But that's Big Brother, and I guess and I think that's one thing I will say. Chris was really handled it like a G. He took that L. He took it on the chin and was like, hey, you know what? It's the game, and not a lot of people would say it's just a game after putting himself out there. Obviously, he has hella bread and not worried about the money. But I think at the end of the day, everyone wants to be represented well. And if you're a fan of the game and to be a part of it, you kind of see that, okay, this is not the way to go. But
that's a good way to look at it. I mean, because it kind of bringing everything into perspective. You say, okay, one person, Busy says, well, they're similar in age. Another one's just like, okay, well, they both want, you both want to win. But the other one's like, okay, but does that even make sense? In 23, you had someone like Tiffany who ended up getting closer to Chada because they had similar thoughts on the game and how they wanted to play, versus Azza, even though they were still, they were still friends, did not see eye to eye in what they wanted to do in the game. Even so, it was not like so much competition, so much as like, okay, you're my ally, we know what we want to do, we want to steamroll the competition, and then we just duke it out as people all the way at the end, and that's just it. At this point, that's probably what they're going to need to do, because they're going to need to bring someone who's a lot more disliked, and like one cannot win without the other next to each other, because both of them are probably as equally unliked in the house. They'll have kind of similar jury votes, because none of them are working the jury, none of them are trying to create relationships other than with each other. So it's just it's a very interesting thing to look at. But not only that, you also see the dynamic as what we said in the beginning. We thought he was going to be with, the Carson and Cynthia and Shayna. And then you realize when watching live feeds that he doesn't like being bottom of a fourth. He's bringing a lot of past, either past trauma or past thoughts, past, feelings from RuPaul's Drag Race into this, into this scenario where he's like, I don't want to be someone's fourth. I want to be someone's number one. And that's kind of weird, because the game is about numbers. You don't want one, you want four. Even if you're at the bottom of the four, you're still at the top of a seven. And now you find yourself at the bottom, where you might have been at the top, like the top alliance in the other side of the house. Now you're kind of at the bottom, like pretty much at the bottom. So so we have that she put up Carson and Cynthia. Surprise. I think everybody knew that Misha was gonna put up Carson and Cynthia, knowing that Carson was the main target. Are we surprised that everybody's going so hard for wanting Carson out, or specifically Misha thinking he's this big, like, Campis and Todrick, just like thinking we need him out, being that they're supposed to be friends? Brayden said yes. Brayden said you're surprised? Or no, you're not surprised?
I'm surprised that they want to push for him to go so hard, because I remember when we were doing like the draft picks, I definitely thought Carson would be able to, fly under the radar for quite a while. And when he was like, "Oh, vibing on the block every single week, that's crazy." I'm just shocked that they all, because realistically, I mean, he did only win one thing. And I didn't think that was like the biggest thing to be like, oh, well, now we have to get him out. He's the biggest threat in this whole house. Oh my God. So I am very shocked at how early people are targeting Carson.
Yeah, no, I agree, Brayden, 1,000%. I don't know what it is. It's the outfits, it's the persona, it's the swag, it's the fact that he's successful on multiple TV shows. But like, Big Brother is one of those games where people will find the smallest thing or whatever it is and then blow it up to make it look like, oh, we got to get him out of here. We got to remove him. So at the end of the day, Carson's good. People love him. He's well-liked, whatever. Yes. But at the end of the day, targeting him week after week,
it feels like a waste of time to me. 1,000%. When there are other people, like, especially if you're winning HOH every other HOH, it just seems like, especially since he's not leaving, like, it just seems like a waste to be targeting him when you could be targeting, like, I mean, if we're going off likability, Lamar should go. Like, there's other people who would win jury votes in the end who need to go. I also think they're not realizing these people go home. These people will watch every episode. They will hear what you are saying on the live feeds. They will talk to each other, presumably. Like, I just think that the Misha Todrick side of the house needs to really, like, start thinking, if we do make it to the end, like, we, at least for a personal game on Todrick's part, like, Misha's not likable. At least play, to win your half.
I love that. I love that they go home and they get to see everything. And so when they come back, they're going to be voting on this. I guess because I've never seen Celebrity Big Brother or seen a scenario where their vote is based on everything that they have seen and they know the full picture. I just can't wait to watch how it plays out, because I think that this is going to be so messy, and their questions to each other are definitely going to be so messy. And I'm just like thrilled.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought it makes sense because they're celebrities. They're not going to keep them like cooped up any longer. But for whatever reason, I was thinking that they would have like limited access to all the information. But then I get on Twitter and there's Mariah, and she's seeing like everything that's going on. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. But as for Carson, I think he's just so unbothered, and I think that intimidates them. I think that it bothers them. He's just like, I'm having a good time, and I'm here because my month was free. So that's it. That's the reason I'm here. And they're all just like super stressed out about it, and he's coasting by based on his likability, and they can't do that. So
as a show of hands, who cares? Like, because that seems to be the I don't know, the theme around the Big Brother house, or the celebrity Big Brother house. Some people just don't care enough because they're just like, my month was free. I had nothing to do. I really don't care. I don't need the money. Like da 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 da. And then there's other people, celebrities as well, that are pressed, and they're like, I need this money. I don't need someone in this house that doesn't need the money. But y'all are celebrities for a reason. Like, do we want to see on the live feed someone who's targeting each other because they don't need the money? Is there?
Yes.
I don't. This is celebrity. If you're a celebrity,
girl,
you should have
why
money.
You
I don't care.
It's a dog eat dog, but what kind of money? What the coin look like? What is the difference in the coinage? Okay.
I think it's different than a regular season, because I feel like a regular season, everyone's going on there, and some people are more vocal about like reasons that they need money than other people are going to be. And so like, even if one person has this very compelling story, another person probably does too, and they're just not going to like air it out for everyone to hear. But for this game, I just want to see you play. Like, I don't care if you need money. I don't care what you're going to spend it on. At this point, to me, you are beyond needing money in my eyes, and what I think the rest of the world sees. So like, I just want you to play the best, and for whoever plays the best to win. That's all I care about. I give zero about who needs the money.
That's so true. And I think that's another difference between Celebrity Big Brother and regular Big Brother. If I heard someone on the live feeds on a regular season being like, I'm just here for fun, I don't really need the money, I'd be like, then why are you there? But on this, I loved when Carson was like talking to THRU in the very beginning when they had their first kind of rift. And he was like, I'm not mad at you. I have no hard feelings. I'm just here for fun. I'm here to hang out. This is like, I love the show. It's just exciting for me to be here. And I like that, because at the end of the day, like, you could always have more money. Everybody needs more money.
Exactly.
But they're at a level where like, they don't need money in the sense of like, they have a home to go home to. They're going to be fed. Like, there's a difference. And so I just feel like it would be more fun to watch these celebrities play if they were playing for fun.
They should have done this for charity, because then I wouldn't be upset. Or just, there's no prize. We'll just see who gets to the end and give them a trophy.
Lamar thought that's what the prize was.
Yeah, which is even more.
It was a trophy.
That's even more endearing though, that he's there and he was like, yeah, I thought I just won a trophy. I love him. I love watching him. He's great. But yeah, I just think PR wise, you're not going to win any love from the outside being on a celebrity Big Brother season and being like, I desperately need this money.
Yes, exactly.
Wasn't Lolo like that?
Well, Lolo's not liked on the season. She
Lolo
is not
like that.
No, I'm saying she is not a liked celebrity on Big Brother. She like universally liked. She's not a universally liked house guest.
The people who need the money don't get liked.
Because they're supposed to be on a regular season.
Yeah, I won't let them.
I don't know.
We're not casting this show.
Frankie Grande was on a regular season.
Yes.
So yes, that's definitely an opportunity. I'm sure that if THRU wanted to go on a regular season of Big Brother, half of them wouldn't even know him. Maybe one person. maybe 2 people might have known who Todrick was. He's not, unless you're in the scene where you are either in the, I don't know what
the arts.
you need in the arts.
He's a niche celebrity.
Very
like,
much.
My parents aren't gonna know who he is. Like it's just a very specific group of people that he's going to be. Like I think he's one of the bigger ones in the house, but as a whole in the world, he's not like a household name to me.
Wait. Someone said, Jess is so right. Todrick is not a celebrity. I did not say that. I did not say he was not a celebrity. I do acknowledge. I think everybody who's on Celebrity Big Brother is a celebrity. I'm just saying that a lot of people would not know who Todrick was if he went on a regular season.
He's a celebrity.
He is a celebrity. Influencers can be celebrities. There's a lot of people who have come up. I mean, I'm not calling myself a celebrity, but there have been people who have come up. They've sent me messages. I get fan mail. People look at me. They cry when they see me. They hug me. They want pictures. They want autographs. Like, do I consider myself a celebrity? No, in their mind, probably. Who knows? I think that's all subjective. But in a way, what I'm saying is that if you want to play for money and you want to play hardcore, you go on a regular season. Celebrity Big Brother, when we're looking at celebrities, we're not looking at them pandering for money. We're not looking at them saying, I need this money, I need this money, I need this money, because you're a celebrity. In our mind, you're going there just for shits and giggles, and we want to see the drama. We want to see your, regular persona, not the stressed out version of yourself that needs this to feed your children. Like that's not what I'm here.
No, I agree. In my mind too, I think when you're as a celebrity, and if I'm putting myself in that position, I'm like, I'm going in here for like good PR.
Yes.
Like this can only help me if I do Carson, if I'm fun, if I just hang out, if I'm doing this, it can only help. And when you play too hard, it can hurt a lot. And I'm interested to see the aftermath of this season for some people, just because it can really do damage. I mean, it can do damage to regular, normal people. And when you have over 1 million followers and all of these other things happening, I'm just curious what, maybe saying some things on the live feeds or doing certain things could do to your image.
I do wonder
absolutely
how overall each celebrity is being perceived, just because I feel like all of us are very biased due to Twitter. I feel like Twitter is a very niche space.
It's like 3%
population,
It's a tough one because before I was on Big Brother, I was just watching the show. And then after I was on, you see how production can, definitely hide attributes of people's personality or highlight certain people doing certain things. But I will say this, if you really do enjoy the people on this celebrity, you're going to go and check out what they have going on. Like Hannah said, she went after Chris Kattan, she's trying to find anything Chris Kattan at the moment. You know what I mean? And even for me, I didn't know who Todrick was. But then now people are like, yo, did you know about this TikTok? Did you see this video about Todrick? Did you know what I mean? So a lot of these things that were kind of, behind the scenes or under the surface are now rising to the top. Let me throw in my Lamar Stan account post right now. But Lamar doing a wonderful job. But in terms of just being like water, just being fluid, just enjoying the experience, just kind of taking every day as it comes. I think there's something to be said for people that definitely kind of have that sort of, I don't want to say privilege, but just this move that like that. It's just super beneficial. His book is probably selling. People are probably definitely checking his socials. So salute to those that play that game and just do it carefree.
Well, that's what I wonder. People with Misha as well. If people are just like general casual viewers are like, oh no, Misha's killing it. She's the best in there. She's definitely going to win. There's no way she doesn't. I wonder if that's the general population kind of thing.
I think that's something that I would consider if I were a celebrity playing this, though, is the long-term benefit of it. Are you going to benefit more from winning? What do they win? $100,000? Is that what they win at the end?
250.
250.
Oh, they win $250,000. Well, are you going to benefit more from winning that at the end with taxes taken out? So you're not even getting $250,000. You're getting 160 or something. Who even knows? But are you going to benefit more from that, or are you going to benefit from this positive PR and more fans who, like you said with Lamar, who now are looking at him whereas if they don't watch basketball, their only interaction with him may have been like 8, 9, 10 years ago watching the Kardashians, and now you're seeing him in this like really positive, fun, lighthearted light, and you then find out, yeah, he has a book out. I wonder what it's about. Are you going to benefit more from this short-term amount of money, or this like extended good PR that you're getting that's revitalizing your career?
Yeah.
So if I were their PR people, I'd be like, hey, you got like a 1 in 11 chances of winning this, but we could really like pick you up from this season.
Oh, Carson's getting a new show out of this.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Thriving. Him and Cynthia are going to be hosting a talk show, and I'm ready to be a guest. So
I agree. Look, even though Cynthia doesn't have a care in the world in this house, like I do, like it's funny because people were like, oh, the most boring of all the housewives came on this show, and it shows that when they are alone, they are a force, and they are actually very entertaining to watch. It's just hard to be crazier than crazy, like when you are around other crazy people, like you cannot be crazier than that. Like you look mild, like for example, I look very mild compared to my family. But I go into a house and people are just like, this bitch is crazy. And it happens to me all the time. Within and around my community, I am regular. I am the most regular Puerto Rican bitch you'll ever find. But then you take me out my hood, you take me into a different area, they're like, there's something wrong with her. There is definitely like, this girl's a little out there, and nobody saw that because I was very calm, cool, and collective, minding my own damn business in my house. But coming out, people were seeing a way, way different Jessica. So it's like, it's very interesting. I love seeing the dynamic. I even loved seeing Teddy on the show because
I like
just her saying the truth, being outspoken, having the balls to go up to someone and like Todrick and saying, I want to talk to you and I want to know why you lied to me, or I want to know why you're doing that. That is drama amongst itself. And it's just her being very straightforward. Whereas on the Housewives, it made her look either catty or boring or whatever. But it worked in this situation. And I'm all for Cynthia and Carson having, I will give them money that they don't need, obviously. I will watch, I will subscribe, I will do everything. I'll try to be their best friend. I don't know what Todrick was thinking, saying, I don't want to be a part of this, but you would have been smart. You could have been in that talk show, boo. You could have been in that 3. He wants his own thing. I get it. Sometimes you try to take yourself out of a shadow of somebody. Maybe he feels like he's under the shadow a little bit, trying to make his own mark. But I feel like when in the way you're doing it and in the way you're talking about other people, it doesn't come considered, like it's not in your favor to do so. And we go in through like the veto, this reindeer veto, the one that Shayna ended up winning. And they're all trying, like, first of all, does anybody have anything they'd like to comment about this veto? Stacking snowflakes.
What was the key to this veto? Having strong thighs? You think it was a thigh thing for the reindeer?
It was I honestly feel that the right person won, Shayna, and I'll tell you why. Because this is what I call a multitasking comp. Like, you have to be very attentive to what's going on. Not only do you have to ride the reindeer for the seconds, right? So you got to have that back and forth hip movement, but you also have to be patient enough to stack these snowflakes. And then you also have to be very mindful of the time that's allotted, because you can time out. So when we look at everybody's timing, everybody pretty much timed out Cynthia clocked in at 7, and Shayna wins at, I believe it was like 22.
Yeah.
I was so happy for her. It's
She
so
did
cute
the thing.
watching her get so excited about it, and good for her. I'm glad she's winning some stuff.
Her diary is really funny.
Yeah, I think she, if anybody, is like an old school kind of player.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
she gives me that vibe because she's very much, she's one of the only ones that understands that, like, you don't have to tell the truth to every single person. And when you talk to them, you can be like, yeah, totally agree, whatever you need to do. And then you get her in the DR and she's like, no, F that. I'm not doing that. I don't give a damn about them. And I'm just like, yes, this is what you need to do. And it's so funny watching her DR things and then watching her seem so like when she was talking to Misha after the reindeer thing, she seems so just like passive and quiet. And she's like, yeah, okay.
Whatever you need. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
And then she's like, hell no. And I love it. I love like the switch up. And not just being like, I just want to play an honest game.
She has been so pleasantly surprising. I love players like her because there's a certain je ne sais quoi that you need in order to be deceitful, like, and be and play and then be liked. There is like, so the fact that she is blatantly, because you're like, she's blatantly lying into people's faces, you know, and playing her game, versus Todrick blatantly lying into people's faces and people hating him for it on the outside. You know, like, there's two ways that you can look at it. But because Shayna's like, I'm here to play the game. I'm here, you know, to do all of it. And she's playing so old school Big Brother. It gives me Janelle vibes. It gives me like, you know, this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see two sides of a house. I wanted to see a clear division. And I wanted to see a person like Shayna to be able to play both sides. Like, she has been able to like literally go from one side to another side, and I think she has that, like, where she can adapt very, very well to either situation and still here to play to play the game. You know, whereas it's weird because in the game, Todrick is like, I'm going to be honest, I want to be this, I want to be that, but he's not doing that. And so it comes off a little differently than Shayna, who's blatantly lying, but saying and owning that she's blatantly lying and just playing the game.
It gives me like, I mean, there's a reason, I'm gonna be maybe saying something controversial, that Paul didn't win against Josh. And to me, that was, he was questioned by the jury. And instead of saying, yep, I lied to all of your faces, I played this game, this is what I did, which is what Shayna is doing, he was like, no, I was honest with all of you.
What are you talking about?
And like, yeah, like, I don't even know, like, I didn't do that. And it's like, that is like very not likable. And so I feel like Shayna is liked, even though she's doing the exact same thing as Todrick, because she's owning that that's what she's doing. And I think that that goes a long way in the game.
I agree. I think she's gonna win. I really do think I've been saying this before the show started. I thought she looked like a sim character, but I do think that she's going to win. I think she's playing an amazing game.
Love that. So so like we said, she wins POV. And she decides, good for her. I don't know who told her, if she did it on herself, if production told her to do it, but she decides, like, I want to take one of these people off. I either want to take Cynthia off, I want to take Carson off, but it would be stupid of my game to not do this. Hence, again, she's thinking about her individual game, right? And she's like, what is good for me? Neither of the people on this block is good for her, you know, for her game if they leave. And she kind of works it on Misha, kind of like, well, you know, I would like to take Cynthia off. That was the original plan. Misha actually goes up to her during the veto and says, hey, if you want to take anybody off, I would probably say Cynthia, you know, or whatever. And so that's kind of like how it was. And then as she starts to talk to Kirkpatrick, this turns out to be a little wild, because Kirkpatrick then talks to Misha, and we have a situation where he's like, I'm for you, but I can't promise you, like he's basically saying he can't promise that he's going to take out Carson or, that it's not going to go her way. In turn, because he couldn't lie or he couldn't at least wait, for all of this, he ends up getting put on the block by Misha, which is one of her main like ride or die. Like he was there for her. Was this a good decision on her part?
Horrible decision. She had that man in her back pocket. He would have gone to war for her. He was a fan first of Miesha Tate.
Yeah.
So for him, for that opportunity to have someone that literally loves you is a missed opportunity. So I was like, I was hurt for him. I was like, oh man, this low key love duo could have done something a bit more, but situations as it may, THRU didn't play.
I was pretty surprised too, because isn't it an ideal situation to be kind of like in between two people who are going after each other? Like at the end of the day, if you think maybe I want one against THRU and maybe I want one against Chris, they can take each other out and I'll take, I don't know, Todd to the end and win in a unanimous vote. Like, I feel like you're kind of positioned really well, because also if you look at like a final three situation, they would both take you over the other person. So it's like, to me, it felt really weird that she was like, oh, I have to take out Chris Kirkpatrick because even though he's blindly loyal to me, he doesn't like THRU. And I'm like, but that's literally the most ideal situation to be in. I would think, as someone who's only has their PhD in Big Brother and has never played the game.
Would they, is this another situation though? Like, would they actually take Chris Kirkpatrick with them? Like, because we just talked about how it kind of feels like THRU is like playing the Kylan kind of thing where he's like, I want to be with the best. Like, I want to win against the best.
I mean,
like, would
Chris
he still
won an
take
HOH.
Misha?
So,
Chris is not the best.
I mean, THRU hasn't won an HOH yet.
I know, but I feel like in that situation in the end, though, I feel like THRU would still take Misha.
Oh,
I really
100%.
do.
Oh yeah, probably.
No, but that's a good way to look at all of it, because like I said beforehand, like they're not doing anything to benefit their own individual game. Hence, this really, in my eyes, doesn't do her any benefit. She wasn't originally targeting Carson until THRU put it in her mind that he was one of the, the biggest threats, which he was not. If anything, you have, I don't know, I would feel like Todd was a bigger threat than, threat than him, because he was like, he's playing, Todd Bridges is playing pretty hardcore. Like, out of all of them, I would say that it's Miesha, it's Shayna, it's THRU, and it's Todd that are actually thinking about strategy and gameplay and like where these pieces fall. But with Miesha, I think you're totally right, Madison. Like, you want those two to go at it, because if they win and they need to take someone to sit next to them, they will take you. Neither of them are going to take each other. Yeah. And you always want to have a three where you're kind of that common denominator between the three. You see why, someone like Xavier won his season was because he was in the middle of all the craziness. Yep. And he was that one person, even though people were trying to make him the target, he was the one who was trying to, or like keep things together, maybe mediate, maybe do things while people were like shooting at each other.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same as like Derek Levasseur taking Victoria and Cody to the end and then not winning so that he didn't have to cut his ally and have that vote. I mean, I feel like Miesha could have really positioned herself where like she could have let THRU win at last HOH, wouldn't have to cut her own Chris Kirkpatrick, and then he would have voted for her. She was really positioning herself, I think, well to do that. But again, as we mentioned before, she's not thinking social strategy at all. No. And I think as the very first HOH winner of any season, that should be the first thing on your mind because you've already painted a target on your back.
No, but I also feel like she doesn't know how to play the game. She knows how to win competitions. Well, it's true. Like she thinks that winning Celebrity Big Brother is about winning HOHs. She has not, like, since she's been in the house and has been in her HOH, she's been up in her HOH room the whole time. People have been talking mad shit about her. People have been talking about how she is not social, how all the women have not felt any type of connection with her, how she she has been trying to run absolutely everybody else's HOH, even though it's only been her and Chris at this point, right? Yeah. But she's not doing she's not even thinking about jury votes. She thinks as long as like I win, I can put, I can just say I'm the best at this game because I won 7 competitions.
Very athlete mentality.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's very athlete mentality. And you can tell, and you can even tell the intensity in her gameplay. Like, you wanna go head to head? Let's go head to head, then see if you can beat me to Shayna. And it's kind of like,
close the cage door. It'll be me and you in the octagon. I'm like, come on, girl, chill out.
I'm like, Shayna is not chill. Stop with your Ronda Rousey, like she is, even though she is blonde, she's not Ronda Rousey. She's not trying to get you. Stop with your trauma. Like, it's not that serious, but it's very true. It's so, and even when Shayna ended up using the veto through Chris Kirkpatrick's suggestion of taking off Carson, Misha puts Chris Kirkpatrick up. How do there was a lot of stuff that happened around this time frame. So let's try to kind of work this through. Was this a good idea for Shayna to take off Carson instead of Cynthia?
I loved it. I thought it was a obviously a great power play. And she had really, thought really long and hard about, what would be the best move. I was thinking, who else could she have put up that would have at least kind of helped her, or in terms of, but I think it was the right move to make at that moment to show, hey, the house is split. And even Chris Kirkpatrick was like, hey man, that was he respected, even though he was subject to the replacement, but like he knew like, hey, that move would hopefully shake up people's perspectives and give people another opportunity.
Anybody else?
I think it was a good idea, and we'll talk about later why. But I think it definitely bought her probably a ticket to the Final Four, I would say.
Even though she lost her Chris Kirkpatrick.
I think so, because I think at the end of the day, like Misha would have gone after him at some point and she would have lost him before he could have done anything for her.
I agree. And I don't think other people were very receptive to Chris Kirkpatrick. Like we see so many conversations where he's going in and trying to be this like knight in shining armor and being like, hey, I did this for you. And, if this scenario goes this way, then I can do this for you. And he's like expecting them to thank him. And they're just like, okay. And you can just see like they're not receptive to his gameplay, like how he's trying to play. He wants people to like be thankful for him and like be like, oh my God, you're doing so much for me. And it's just not working. Like it's not transpiring in the way that I think he thought it would. And to me, it didn't seem like he was like that successful in his like campaigning, in his bargaining with people. So yeah, I think it was good to just be done with him because I don't really think Shayna needed him, honestly.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Hey, doggy.
I don't. Oh, hello. I don't know. I just I think that it could have been like it started out as a good position being in that like middle with the two of them. But I feel like most of the success in their position came from Shayna. So that's what I think.
No, I agree. I don't think that she definitely like needs him to go far in this game. I think, you know, he definitely like served his purpose to like their gameplay and especially to hers. But I don't see this being like, oh well, Shayna's obviously going home next. You know, this sucks for her. No, I feel like she can really pivot and really still be very successful in this game.
Agreed.
Well, that's good to know, because after she uses the veto, they go into their their voting, and Chris Kirkpatrick ends up leaving.
Bye.
He went bye. I hate that. I hate all of these little memes. But everybody sent him the nicest things. Everybody's like, can't wait to see you in Nashville. Love you. Can't wait to see you in Nashville. Todrick left him the most savage video.
I would like Gemma to know that she is.
Okay, what did he say? Because I had to take my dog out during this part. So can somebody recap this for me? I didn't get to see it.
Basically, like, I never liked you. You know, I made sure that, you know, you had to go home. And look, at the end of the day, I lasted longer than you. So deal with that.
What he said was, because I wrote it down. I heard that you were campaigning against me. And so I had to start campaigning against you. And what my goal was to last longer than you. And I lasted longer than you did. Okay? See you later.
Little sassy, little unnecessary, you know, and it's funny because.
But it was the truth, though. It was the truth. And I hated how Chris Kirkpatrick sat there and across from Julie Chen, Moonvan's face, was like, I don't know where he would get that from. I never tried to do any of that. But, I could see where he would come. Girl, you were the one who was about to put him up if Shayna used that veto, but she didn't. You were walking around and running around that house on the live feeds telling people, yep, I'm going to have to do it. I'm about to make the move. And it got back to him because Todd told him what you said. And now you want to act like, no, I didn't do. I don't know where he's getting this from. I mean, I hear what he's saying, but I don't know where he's getting this information from.
I do feel like out of all of them thus far, out of all jury members, I do feel like Chris will be the most non-biased, very level-headed. Like, even though Todrick did say that, he was like, you know what? I still respect him at the end of the day. It is a game, and, I get that. Versus, I feel like everyone else, like, Teddy is like, it is my sole mission to make sure Todrick does not win. Like, that is my mission statement. That is, our brand ethos at this
Tattooed at the finale night.
Todrick cannot win. Versus Chris is like, you know what? People have feelings. It's fine. It's a game. I get it. That's why I love this game.
Yeah.
Are we surprised that because I thought Todrick was going to come in and be like, it's a game, we're all good. But this guy, it seems like no. Whoever's asking in the comments, I doubt that Kirkpatrick is invited to Todrick's house. He is not invited to the party. He said he wants it to be a Zoom because he doesn't want to see his face live. Like, he is literally hurt. But does it make sense? Because Todrick was trying to target him. Like, he was using this and people use this as strategy. I don't know if it's happened on anybody else's season, but it's like, watch when you see the feeds, when you come out of the house and you watch the show, it's not going to be like,
you'll see, I was never coming for you. You'll see.
And then you watch it and you're like, yeah, bitch, you were coming for me.
Yeah,
you totally were coming for me. What was the point? Yeah. So I mean, do we have a similar situation? Because Todrick was kind of not getting along with Kirkpatrick.
For sure. I think if anything, Chris Kirkpatrick is going to go back and be like, oh, shit, you were like saying all this. If anything, I think he'll be more bitter than he was in the original aftermath, the initial gut reaction after the thing, because his initial gut reaction was like, this is a game, da, 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 da. But I feel like he's going to go home and see all of this other stuff, and it's going to be like, oh, maybe I don't feel.
But he was doing the same thing. He was literally doing the same thing.
I know.
He wanted to put up Todrick.
But people don't rationalize it that way. Like,
it also goes back to that thing where it's like Chris kind of told everybody that, whereas Todrick is like, oh, I like had to go after you because you were going after me. But I think they were both going after each other at the same time. I don't think it was like what came first, the chicken or the egg. I think they both recognized each other as a threat and needed to take each other out. And Chris was kind of like, yeah. And Todrick was like, well, I was only going after you because you were going after me. And I think that is maybe a little bit of what it is. I mean, I think maybe their personalities just didn't mesh well in the house anyways. And they maybe didn't like each other on a personal level. It maybe had nothing to do with game. Because at the end of the day, I could have seen them also working together, especially because they have that Misha connection. I just think maybe they both wanted to be Misha's number one, and Todrick saw like they were close. Chris saw they were close. Like, and it was like, oh no, I have to be her number one, which again, I don't get the obsession with Misha and why everyone wants to be her best friend. But I think maybe it was a little bit of that too. But yeah, I mean, he will not be at his house. I can tell you that. So no more NSYNC. I mean, I'm curious about, again, the personal relationships outside of the house because Todrick is friends with Lance Bass. So I'm curious what Lance thinks about all of this because these are two people that he is close with.
That never, I could tell you from personal experience, it never fares well. Like you always got to pick one or the other, or you just got to not talk about. I mean, they're guys, so I maybe it's just a different scenario between, you know, between males as to whether or not
it's definitely not. It's the same wave. You're gonna have to pick a side. You can't play both, and I think when it comes down to it, you know. Whatever, you know, personal relationships that might have to be sacrificed for, you know, this opportunity, it happens, you know?
Yeah. We are definitely going into the final HOH competition, but Mr. Braden White needs to go. So we want to thank you, Braden, so much for being part of the show. We will see you
bye, Braden.
in the next few days for our next recap.
Okay, I love you all. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get the wall comp.
Yay!
Jess, the wall comp.
I just want to say,
do we roll the clip or?
Yes, please.
No, I ain't showing nobody clips. Last time I showed some
sound effects.
YouTube flagged our channel and said, no, you ain't. You know, this copyright issue. So it was like, nope, that's not going to happen. But I will tell you, I wish I was on that celebrity wall comp because it was 3 feet off the air. It looked like you could just jump, like you could just like hop on the step and call it a day. Their poles were like down here, like very even. There was nothing that I was back like this. That was my face basically the whole time, you know, trying to do planks with my hands like this. They're all like this. It looked super easy, but you know, I'm not.
We'll see what happens. Apparently, there's some vajayjay shots.
They were getting Shayna.
Yeah, that I will say that did look like it hurt. You know, I mean, she said she got hurt. She got hurt. Hopefully she doesn't have any complications from that. But we end up starting, like, I'm very impressed with these celebrities and how long they actually stayed on, because after Todrick and Carson, this had been already over an hour, you know, of them being on this, you know, on this wall comp. Of course, a little bit easier, you know, than most wall comps, kind of. But are we surprised that Lamar lasted so little?
No, he looked so uncomfortable. It looked like it was not made for a tall person. He looked so uncomfortable. He was sitting like this. I don't even want to sit like this right now. It looked like he had to squeeze his body so that he can hold on to the handles. I knew he was going to be, he could not last that long. It was uncomfortable. That was not made for a tall person.
None of these competitions are made for Lamar Odom. We saw it, obviously the ski, chair. We saw the horse racing or the reindeer riding, where his feet are dangling, and now this wall comp. Big brother, what are we doing here? I will say this: he had the competition that Chris Kirkpatrick won, where he was supposed to roll the ball. That was his comp to win, and he missed that opportunity there. So I think everyone has a comp or two that there's thrown to them by production. Like, hey, he could win this one, or this one might work in his favor. Hopefully, there's the press a hold a button or press it and hold something that he could possibly redeem himself down the road. But tough one for Al.
Is there gonna be a comp for Lamb, Drew?
I don't think so.
Listen, we've maybe there's a food eating competition or something coming down the line. So let's give it time. Regardless, Lamar will find his way and make it happen.
I was so impressed by Carson. Like, I don't know what I expected. I didn't think he was in like poor shape or anything, but this is a long time for someone.
He has a fake hip.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. That makes it even more impressive that he was able to do this for that long. I was just like, look at you. What workout routine are you on? What are you doing? Because he did a great job.
There's something about his just like ability to like want to thrive and win. I think that he's showing up for these competitions, regardless of the situation. Like, you know, I didn't think he could get his clothes off that quickly in this, and he's like literally just like, and he jumped over and hit the buzzer. I'm like, man, he's pretty athletic for an older gentleman, and he's doing well. So
absolutely.
Salute to him.
I mean, he was saying that his arm was bad. He didn't think he was going to do well.
Hold on, just stop talking trash about Lamar, okay? He could do this. He could do this. Production doesn't need a 6'10" stunt double for Lamb, all right?
Yeah, I mean, it would help, though. It would really help to see if Lamar would be good at these competitions. I feel like this is really putting a damper in his personal, you know, of how he feels as a, you know, as
two-time NBA championship, Olympian gold medalist. Yes, Lamar deserves better. Maybe he needs to call someone to come off the bench and sub into the game for him. You know,
they all did a good job. Carson looked effortless. Like, there was a moment where I was watching these feeds and I was like, why is he cleaning the floor as it's tilting? Like, stop. I was afraid that he was gonna like slip. I was like, why is he's like this whole time just like sweeping and just like
in a Versace tracksuit, by the way, in Versace. So he's doing this in designer outfits, looking amazing. So salute, man. It's a whole other level of flexing at this point.
Oh God.
He's doing a wall comp in Versace. This is not Fashion Nova, guys. It's Versace.
Okay.
Lizzie, I'm curious because you are such a Misha stan, how you feel about the other side of the house. Like, are you excited about this win, or are you like how do you feel?
So what I like Misha because it's not that, you know, I think she's the best player, and she's because I think that Shayna's gonna win. I think she's the best player. I like the other side of the house. I'm glad that Carson, when he is making things look effortless. I gotta look into his doctor records, okay, to see if these hips and arms and legs and everything is fake as he say they are.
Titanium.
If so, you know, that's unfair because it felt like he could just put them into position and they lock in place. But I mean, it's an exciting game. I mean, it's exciting that he did win. He was up there, he held on, and he does make it look so easy. Even when he was doing the skee ball, I think it's just like, oh, yep, there we go. Okay, great, 36. Like, it's so easy, it's so effortless for him. It's
I think it's because he's having fun.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's why it's
true.
so entertaining. I think that's why it's like the very, very big difference from Todrick to Carson when it's like Todrick just looks so stressed. He's like, he stresses me out. It's like, dude, it's not that serious. Just enjoy yourself. And I know it's hard when you're trying to prove something, right? I think Todrick is definitely trying to prove that he can be different than anything anybody has ever seen. He doesn't want to be under Carson's, he doesn't want to be under Carson's shadow. He doesn't want to be under a typical Black entertainer's shadow. He wants to be Todrick.
He's
He wants
doing,
to be
he's
like
doing that, yes.
Beyonce. He wants to be like Beyonce, but Todrick. You know, he wants to create his own. You're on mute, babe. Hannah.
He's also like such a big fan too, though, and I feel like he's made it so like publicly known, like that he wanted to play, and it's kind of like when we saw Frenchie last season. Like so many people in the like Big Brother fandom world knew of him, and I feel like you immediately saw that switch up where they're like, okay, well, you made it, so you better perform. Like it's like that like one of us made it mentality, and everybody like expected so much because they're like, you are this super fan or whatever. And I feel like maybe Todrick is letting that get to him in that way as well, because he so publicly has like wanted to play for such a long time.
It makes me sad for him too, because I don't feel like it looks like he's enjoying his experience. And as a fan, like I really want him to be like having fun, because especially with like celebrity seasons, it's not like he's going to come back again. Like they're not going to do an all-star celebrity season. And it's like, this is it. You have 4 weeks to like soak it in. This is your favorite game, your favorite show, like really enjoy it. And I do think like of all the people, he loves the game more than anyone else that's in the house. And it makes me sad because I don't see him enjoying it. And I know there's competitions and he is coming in second a lot, as the comment said. And it's like, I'm sure that's frustrating, but I'm like, also just take it in. You're getting second in Big Brother comps. Like you've wanted to play, and like, that's what an honor, you know, to be sleeping in the HOH room and doing all of this. And I really hope that maybe he has a shift where at least for the next 2 weeks, he can like really enjoy it as a fan. Because Frenchie too didn't get a lot of time because he played so hard, so fast, got evicted. And it's like, oh shit, I was in the Big Brother house. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that.
I hope that he starts to enjoy his time there as a fan. It's like, oh, that's sucks to like not have fun.
He's a little too thirsty, a little too much. And I think there's nothing wrong with just being present in the experience. Like you guys said, like he's literally just like putting himself at more risk by doing too much or sharing too much. So sometimes just, you know, being there, being present, and maybe he could take a page out of, you know, Chris Kattan or Todd or Lamar and just like, you know, chill out.
I am who I am. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So this is a part of the time, or this is a part of the show where we say disclaimer, spoilers, just to let you know, because we've talked pretty much everything that has happened on the show, unless I missed something. Did I miss anything?
We didn't talk about the fight.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Cynthia versus Todd.
Yeah, but I gotta go. We have a 1:30. You didn't see the fight? Girl, I was over here like this. It's Lamar's fault. Big Brother Drew, it's Lamar's fault. That fight was Lamar's fault.
Why was it Lamar's fault?
There's not that much entertainment in the Big Brother house some days. So when there is a fight, when there is a house meeting, and it has nothing to do with you, hey man, maybe a few extra claps, a few extra, you know, little gas on that fire, you know, make that flame a little hotter, man. It's you know. I
love that,
and that shows how much fun Lamar's having, because he's just talking trash, man.
It's definitely not as bad as what you would see like in a Kardashian house. So I'm sure he's just walking by.
You guys, recap. What happened? What did they do?
Well, you know, I could take a stab at it. Cynthia was just trying to check Todd, because Todd wasn't really trying to work with Cynthia because of that first week where she threw the vote at Todd when she was in the situation. So she tried to explain it, saying, "Hey, I was loyal with what was her name again? Penny."
Teddy.
She was loyal to Teddy, and she wanted to be a part of, you know, with her. And then she's like, "Hey, my alliance with him, 50 Cent, yeah, for sure." And another thing. But yeah, they had a little fallout right there in front of everyone. I hate to see my black people fight amongst each other. I will say that, especially since she was said a big fan of Todd before. So I'm like, oh man, like your childhood crush, you're yelling at your childhood crush right here. So yeah,
I want to say that Todd has a few choice words to say to Cynthia. You know, there weren't. I wasn't a fan of that. You know, talking about how she wasn't safe in the streets. I was like, what do you think he meant by this? Please explain what he meant by saying Cynthia was not safe in the streets.
I think Cynthia Bailey doesn't have security.
She got goons.
I mean, I'm like, what is Todd Bridges gonna do?
Yeah,
exactly. Y'all can Google him now. It's Todd Bridges.
He's been in the streets.
Yeah, you can Google him now.
I think it became, they were talking about how, you know, Big Brother is a reflection of kind of like street life to some degree. So I don't think it was anything, you know, outside of the house. I think it was simply just saying, hey, you're not safe in these streets because you chose a side. And, you know, where I come from, it's very similar. Once you pick a side, you better stay over there, because if you try to come back over here, you're going to have a few issues. So I think that's where I kind of, you know, but the streets isn't reflective of Big Brother. I will say that. There's a definite, you know, the people that play the game know how to play the game, and they can hop with the Bloods and the Crips, or, you know, the Hoopers or whatever. You know, they can hop and go each side, no problem. So there's definitely something to be said to being able to be adaptable, being able to forgive and forget, or have the illusion of forgiving and forgetting to move forward in the game.
I just think Todd was like very in poor taste. Like I think Cynthia, you know, was upset, but like there's a difference between like expressing anger and like just kind of like being flustered, and then like what Todd did. I just think there was like, it wasn't evenly matched, and like his response didn't feel appropriate for like what was happening. And I don't
agree.
Really?
Huh? Yes, I feel like that escalated, and it was because of Cynthia and because of Lamar. Because Todd was sitting there not bothering nobody, sitting at that table, and he sat down there, cool, calm, and collected for the longest time. Lamar was like, "You're not over there yet?" "No, I'm not over it. No, I mean, she voted for me. It's an eye for an eye." "Oh, and this how you
he's a bitch." What did he say to him?
Yeah, now he's screaming at him. "Oh, he a punk, he a wimpy, all this stuff." And he's like, "Hey, like, I mean, that's how I feel. She voted for me. I'm gonna vote for her." Then Cynthia comes out. "Oh, so that's what you're gonna do?" "Yeah, I mean, that you voted for me. I'm gonna vote for you." "Oh, so if this is how you're gonna play the game, then this is what we're gonna." Well, I'm just saying, this is how I felt. I didn't say you kept your alliance to her, and that's okay. "Oh, see, you know what? Then this is fine." Then she left, and then she came back, and another thing, and he still was like, "Well, what?" And then she got a point, and he said, "Okay, now I'm done." I think that the only part people are looking at is after Lamar was clapping in his face, she was pointing, yelling. He sat there and didn't say anything for the longest time. And then when he finally said something, people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe him."
Shout out to Scotty, always having Lamar's back too, man. I'm with you, bro.
I know. Hey, Scotty. Scotty has his 2 cents in here.
Scotty's on Twitter going crazy sometimes. I'm like, "Scotty, man, you just really here stirring the pot." But salute to Scotty for saying what he got to say, man. I appreciate that.
Scotty, quit while you're ahead, bro. Like we get it that you have very strong opinions about this. I was trying to get him on, but he doesn't. He like can't catch the episodes like straight through.
It's a commitment.
Like
it's
playing catch up. It is a commitment. If not, So let's see on this panel who believes that it was Cynthia's. Was this Cynthia's doing, or was this Todrick's doing, or not Todd's doing?
I think it was Cynthia's doing, because sometimes when you have conversations in Big Brother house, they're not going to go well, and when they don't go well, you have to know how to react when they don't go well. She was in her feelings because he was in his feelings, and he's okay with being in his feelings. But when you talk about feelings, someone's feelings are going to get hurt, and that's what we saw kind of blow up right there.
Okay, but he was also out of line.
He was a bit aggressive, but his temperament is also a little. You gotta. Todd sometimes wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. You can't just say just anything to him sometimes. And, sometimes when you have people with that, I'm kind of like that myself. Sometimes, you gotta, on the wrong day, you catch me on the wrong day, I might react a certain way. So you have to proceed with caution in some situations.
Yeah.
Not saying he had the right to disrespect her. I'm sure he said a lot of things that were, off the cuff and not very pleasant. But hey, man, listen.
I mean, the choice of words were just a bit much. It's like
what did he say? It was a lot of blurring.
He said, you slit my. He's like, you slit my neck, I slit yours, or you slit my throat, I slit yours. And I'm thinking, dude, if I slit your throat, you'd be dead. You wouldn't even be able to slit my throat. Like, it was just like
Jess, your Chicago is showing, Jess. Your Chicago is showing.
I got a razor under my tongue. But that's just how we roll. Nah, I just kidding. Please, anybody who does not understand my sarcasm, just please do not click
Jess
that.
Jess is not a gang member, guys. No,
I am
not.
No,
I mean, I don't know. I think Cynthia definitely started the argument. Kind of came out of nowhere. She could have just been like, "Oh, he's just saying he's not voting for me, or he's not voting for me." There's so much time to kind of you could flip his vote. There's time to deal with that. But I think his reaction was not at the same level as getting up, getting in her face. I don't know.
Did he get up? I think they poked the bear. Did he come up towards her?
No, he was sitting down for a long time, and everybody was standing over him, yelling and clapping and calling him a punk. Then he stood up. He stood up. I was there. I felt so uncomfortable. Why? I felt so uncomfortable. I was there. I was in the moment. I felt so uncomfortable watching the scene because I was like, can somebody get the other people out the room? Because it felt like everybody was towering over him, and telling him he's wrong, and he's just sitting there like, yo.
I mean, I'm not saying it's easy to be the bigger person, but I think he could have walked away from that as kind of the hero of the situation. If someone's yelling at you and you get up and walk away, you win.
She walked away, and then she came back to yell again.
Right, but he could have been the one who was like, I don't want to, I just am going to leave. And I think that he almost did himself a disservice by reacting the way he did. And now it's kind of everyone's like Todd. And I'm in that camp. And I think he could have handled it better. I know that, and I'm saying that knowing that it's so hard when someone's yelling at you to do that. But at the end of the day, in real life, that's kind of what you need to do. And you're being recorded 24/7 on a television show.
Listen, let me say this, guys. I was in a fight on my season briefly. I didn't do anything. All I did was look at this young lady, and they said I was aggressive and angry. So I think as a black man, sometimes you can do nothing and still be the victim and to be the person instigating the situation. But I will say this, Todd. Todd is an older gentleman. Obviously, he should know how to deal with these situations a little better. Probably not standing up or having these conversations like that. And he knows everyone's got a short fuse. He's got a really short fuse. I even saw that when they nominated on the block, he was giving Julie a little attitude there. I'm like, man, but at the end of the day, you got to know when these situations come up, because they will come up. It's Big Brother, how to move. So maybe the next time he's like, hey, I'm entitled to my opinion. Let's agree to disagree. Keep it moving.
He needs to listen to this podcast.
Hey.
Well, at the end of the day, he still voted to keep Cynthia.
Yeah, so she could have stayed in another room when she was coming back to say in another thing. She could have stayed where she was.
Not and another thing. I'm putting that on a t-shirt.
And another thing. But it's true, because the thing is just that, she was like, hey, if you're just not planning on voting for me, then just tell me and we keep it moving, and that's it. And I know where you stand. The thing is the fact that Todd was comparing it to something like Teddy, where she had been giving Teddy her word for a week. She had, and all of a sudden Todd comes on the block in 5 minutes, and all of a sudden she's supposed to change her vote. The fact that Todd can't really differentiate that.
I have a question for people, for the people who've played this game, because this is something that drives me nuts as a viewer. When the person goes home, but they got a couple votes, and people are so mad at the people who voted for that person to stay. And I'm like, but you still stayed. Chill. You're still in the house. Maybe that person was friends with them. Maybe they wanted to give them a sympathy vote. They probably knew that they were still going to leave. And then it's all of a sudden the target is on this person's back who voted them out. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I'm curious why at the end of the day, while Todd is still sitting in the house, he's so mad about Cynthia's vote when he's literally still there.
It's petty. And, you know, I'm not trying to say his feelings aren't valid, but I think at the end of the day, and, you know, and when you're a loyal person or you know, you have, or maybe a little sensitive, Big Brother is going to test you. So you got to, you know, get a little bit of a thicker skin. Everyone's, I know, learning from week to week. And I guess maybe the next time, if Todd survives the block, he'll be like, hey, you know, I'm still here. Let's keep it moving and let's build going forward. But like, everyone is looking for a reason in the house. Everyone is looking for a reason.
True.
He had one. I don't care. All right, I'll see y'all later. Happy Valentine's Day weekend.
Happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy, man.
We're wrapping. Thank you, Busy. So we're wrapping this up, and then there were 4. And so now we're wrapping this up. We're in the spoilers. HOH. We said that Carson won HOH before he fell off the wall. He made a deal with Todrick to not put him on the block. So as you go into, oh no, this is what we were waiting for. So his thought process if people hadn't seen the live feeds yesterday, the thought process is for him to put up Todd and Miesha together. He sees that as an option. Todrick has come back to him to say, hey, but if someone uses the veto, is it going to be used? And then I'm going to be put on the block. And Carson's like, no, we are good. So he's kind of taking this option off the table as a Todrick, you know, as a replacement. How do you feel about this? Because I'm not happy.
I feel like, though, there is a scenario where if, say, Lamar won the veto and he takes off just like had a brain thing, whatever. He's got Todd and Miesha. That's who he's going to put up, right? Well, Lamar takes Todd off. Then your only option is to put up Shayna, Todrick, or
Lamar. He could put up Lamar, and I think that would be the choice. It wouldn't make Lamar any happier.
Can you put up someone if they won the veto?
No.
No, and that's the situation. The situation.
That's what I'm saying is if Lamar won the veto and he takes off Todd, then his only option is either Todrick or his group.
So I think he would put up Todrick. I think he's just saying that. Yeah. I feel that way. I think we might see Todrick on the block with Miesha from jump. I think
from jump. You think that's?
I think it's an option, and I think it's something that we might see on the live feeds. Him and Shayna talking about as an option. I think at the end of the day, he's gonna. If it comes down to a veto, he would have to backdoor Todrick, but then Todrick would have to leave, or it would be bad news. Because I don't think Carson is stupid enough to think that if Todrick had won that HOH and promised Carson safety, that Carson would really be safe.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because here he does talk to people. He said that Todrick was not even on his, radar. Like, he knows, and this is where the money comes in. He knows that Todrick needs it more than he does. He's not here for the money. Like Carson has said in several different situations that if he won the money, he wanted it to be given to charity. Like, so you have this like $250,000 prize and you're just like, oh, give it to charity. Whereas Todrick would be using it obviously to fund whatever projects that he's funding that nobody's giving him funding for.
Pay some dancers, maybe. Allegedly pay some dancers. That's what I heard. I seen online. Twitter told me that.
Pay for a lot of different bills. That's just that could be that could be one thing. We don't know. Allegedly, I have no idea. But yes,
coffee. But
I know it's like. But yes, so it looks as if Shayna's trying to really get into his ear about this. I love the fact that Shayna is at least the game player on this side that knows that she can make the moves. And this is why I find Shayna to be so smart, because she went from like a hell no, I'm not going to She went from the hell no, I'm not going to be playing third to 2 game players. I'm going to go over here on the other side where nobody's playing game and I'm going to run that shit. Like, and that's why I love Shayna so much. But yeah, that's just kind of where it falls. What are we seeing in terms of predictions for this week?
I think Todrick's going home. I think it's a backdoor Todrick week. I think even if he doesn't take the initial shot, that shot will be coming at some point. So hey, this is the underdog side win that we all wanted. This is what we kind of wanted to see kind of transpire. So I think Carson knows the temperature and will not disappoint.
I agree. And I think that kind of back to your point, like Carson saying, I don't need the money. I want someone who does need it to stay. I think he will be rooting for Shayna and Cynthia. And I think it's best for their game if Todrick goes. And I think Carson will try to help them get as far as they can. And so I think that would help them in the end. So I think it would be, I agree. I think we'll see a backdoor Todrick this week. Yeah, it'll be rough to watch because, he'll be probably pretty emotional about it.
Hannah? Oh, I think she's kind of
her battery is getting low.
She did say her battery was super low. I just see her beautiful smile.
Do we see as Todrick or Misha being the bigger threat that she needs to go home this week?
You could just put it up. I think we lost her, and then there were 3. Sorry about that, y'all. Yes, but that's okay because we're kind of wrapping up right now. But I personally think that the smart decision would be Misha. Misha needs to go. No, but I mean, for real, it would make sense. Misha isn't really tied to anybody except for Todrick. It would either have to be Misha or Todrick because that's the only very strong 2, because everybody else, it's kind of like it could go either way. There's not one powerhouse. I
think for Misha to go, Todrick has to be on the block.
Yeah.
So I think it will be like a nail biter. We won't know who they're going to vote out. I think they're not going to decide until the end. But I think the only way Misha will go, because if it's Todd and Misha on the block, Todrick will start talking, trying to flip votes. He'll vote to keep Misha. I think he'd have to be sitting next to her to take away that vote for her to go home. And that's a huge risk because he could also go home if he's sitting on the block.
Yeah. The only thing is that Carson at this point is still not considering Todrick as a first nom option. He wants Todrick and he wants Misha because he knows that Todrick is he is also very aware that Todrick and Misha are very close, if not final 2s. So the fact that the way it could work is if Todd was to not be on the block and win veto, he definitely would take Misha off. If Lamar wins, Lamar is not going to take Misha off. He would take Todd off. If Todrick wins, then he would definitely take Misha off, and then they're both safe. And so it doesn't really give him much option.
I mean, I think it would be smart not to put Todrick up initially because I think he's more likely to win a veto than Todd. So if you take away Todrick's ability to play, he could, potentially be that additional nom, because I don't see Todd winning the veto. I say that now and oh God. But
I know it's very up in the air.
I don't see him winning the veto, but I can see Misha. I almost feel like it might be smarter to backdoor Misha because she could win the veto. But I don't know. Oh gosh.
One of those 2 got to go this week, so we'll see. I think that's my pick on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. That wasn't the right one, but I don't know what this says. Sorry, I should have. I really should have read this before putting it up, but. Cody and Toddy were always trying to attack the women, and more embarrassing for them trying to. This had nothing to do with what we're talking about. But sorry.
I tried.
I tried. Really, I think Carson is, and I agree with this. Carson is blinded by Todrick. Carson is still looking at Todrick as kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but like the baby, like the little son or the,
that's his people. So
and they have
a
relationship outside of the house that I think it was very much maybe like that on the other things that they've worked on.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to Carson really just being there for fun and no hard feelings type of attitude. And
Carson says he would never take an opportunity away from Todrick. Like, I just don't see him putting him up just because it's like, that's not only is Todrick not playing the game the way like maybe Big Brother should, but he's putting in that personal relationship and saying, I would never do that to Todrick. I don't want, he needs this money. I would personally never take this away from him. I don't want to take it away from him, but who knows if in working, do we think that Shayna could actually kind of maneuver it to like maybe put a little bug in his ear? Is there someone who's going to tell Carson that Todrick has been gunning after him? Does Carson know this, and does Carson even care?
It's a great question. I don't know if he knows, or if he's heard it and hasn't believed it. I think it would have to come from Shayna or Cynthia, for him to believe it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that Shayna knows. I don't know if Shayna would be like, hey, like he's been wanting to target you, because we know Misha is a for sure thing. He said she's put me on the block twice, saying that I'm a big threat. So I'm going to do the same exact thing back to her. I think that's very obvious. It's so easy.
Do you think if Misha got out this week that Carson and Todrick would work together moving forward? Or do you think Todrick would still think of Carson as a threat?
I think Todrick would scamper back to where he was before. I think
he could be a good move.
He would go to his original form. He would go back to his original form. It could work out
for Todrick if Misha leaves, because he could position himself. If Carson does have this soft spot for him, he could use that to get farther in the game. And I think without Misha, a target kind of falls off his back a little bit. So
I can see that. I think that's the funny part, right? Is that you were a part of this original four, and now you're like on the other side. If you lose your number two, like your number one or your right hand, then you're going right back the situation which week one you literally were trying to get away from. And that's the most ironic part of it. It's just like you're just trying to get away from it so bad that it's just coming right back, at you. But it's in a good position because Shayna needs a number two. Like at this point, she's third wheel to Carson and Cynthia. So while she can get herself in the final three, she won't be picked. She won't be picked to play. And I think that Todrick right now, she's really working on a better relationship with Todrick. So maybe she won't snitch on Todrick, Carson, to Carson, because it doesn't benefit her gain. She won't do that until maybe Final Four or something happens where she needs to elevate that.
Final Four for Celebrity Big Brother, isn't it? You cut two. The HOH cuts two people.
Yeah. So this is going to be interesting because literally that Final Four is on the last day of the finals. And then that one person who wins cuts two people. So that's why you want to be in a place where, you're good. Yeah. So in this case, if Todrick was to win, he would take Shayna over Cynthia and over Carson. If Cynthia wins, well, she would take Carson. If Carson wins, I'm assuming he would take Cynthia. Maybe he would take Todrick, knowing that Todrick needed it. I could totally see that because he's looking at it. He's looking at it as like Cynthia doesn't need the money. I don't need the money. Depending on what happens, he would Shayna need the money? Maybe Shayna would need the money just as much as
I think she's
Todrick.
talked about it a little bit. She said something like, "Oh, all these people like have gigs coming up. Like Todrick's going on tour. Misha has a fight. Like everyone has all these things lined up, and like I don't have any work lined up." And I don't know if she's using that to like pull on heartstrings and be strategic, but she has said that at least the one time I heard it.
Yeah. I mean, and that it's going to be an interesting situation. Whatever happens, I think it's always going to come up to the competitions. That's what makes this game so special, is because they're just like, okay, who can win? Like, to be quite honest, yeah, I feel like Misha could Jackson Mickey this the whole way through.
She's got to go. Come on, she's got to go.
Like, Drew, I love Drew's eyes where they just go like.
Their names are even similar. Misha and Mickey.
Damn.
No, I mean, but seriously, when you have a threat like that, a competition threat, like you have to take them out, pretty easily. I think that's literally the only way is to get rid of Misha. Is it very probable that Misha would win a veto? Absolutely. She's really one of the only people competing aside from Todrick himself, and Shayna. Like, so this is going to be interesting. Although I do love Mia Carson and how he competes, because it's very, very effortless, but he makes it work some,
I mean, so far, Misha and Todrick, their side hasn't won a veto yet. So I'm hopeful that we've got Carson, who's won the veto, Shayna, who's won the other 2 vetoes, that we have some sort of like veto luck situation. But I would love to see Misha go home.
I'm gonna say the same thing. I just don't.
Busy's gone, so we're all in agreement.
Hey, one of those 2 can go happily.
True.
So
yeah.
Either way, something's got to give. I think that other side needs a little kick in the pants. So hopefully, the removal of one of those, we'll kind of see who emerges as the villain after that.
Because there's always going to be one.
Always going to be one.
It'll be, if Misha leaves, it's still going to be Todrick. It might be Todd. I mean, it has been Todd for a while, I feel like.
Bit, yeah.
And I love the fact that even with everything that's been going on, Lamar has been slowly but surely understanding the game a little bit more each day, and he knows that Misha's a threat. He knows Misha needs to go. This I loved to see it. I love the fact that he was able to recognize that. I think he's a wild card. I love that for him.
Lamar, baby, come on, guys.
I'm proud of him. I'm so proud of him. I think I had very little expectations for that man. I was like, he's gonna be gone first. Like, he doesn't even want to be there. Where's Chloe at? Like, I don't know. And like, I am like, he is killing it.
I agree. I totally agree. That being said, hey, Faggoty says, can we all please like the video and support the channel? If they legit disagree, let us disagree without censoring the chat. Well, we try not. Everybody's I feel like everybody's a grown adult, but as long as you're not trying to sell me porn on site on the chat, we're all good. But no, that's the whole point of agree to disagree. Like, obviously we have a Misha Tate stand in our as one of our hosts.
Super unfortunate, by the way.
Very, very unfortunate. But hey, I love him all the more for sticking to his, sticking to his guns and his beliefs.
Sticking to something.
Sticking,
something sticky.
If you what is it? What's the saying? If you stand for everything, then you stand for nothing. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fall
stand up for something.
Or even if you don't fall, if you fall for everything, then if you
stand for everything, you'll fall for something. I don't know. Let us know what it is, guys.
You let us know in the comments. I forget. Everybody.
And another thing. Sorry.
And another thing.
That is going on a sweatshirt today. I promise. I will send you photos.
and another thing. If you agree to disagree, do it politely and respectfully and with lots of love, because that's what we're all about. And also click like, subscribe, click to receive those notifications. We are covering we don't have that much left. There's 2 weeks left to this game, y'all. Tomorrow is we'll see. I don't know if we'll see that. We won't see much of the HOH because we kind of already know, but they will go through who won the HOH and noms. And then on Monday will be the live eviction. And then we'll have another HOH, and then
so fast.
it's just moving so fast. But the next time that we will be recapping will be on Tuesday for Sunday and Monday's episode, because we cannot do every day. It's exhausting. Seriously, we can't even keep up, and that's why we're already at an hour and 45 minutes. So thank you for everybody who has actually been on with us for this long. Thank you, Madison, so much for being our guest.
I had a blast. I love this show. I'm so excited to be here, and maybe you'll have me back. I don't know.
Absolutely. You are welcome whenever. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, I am at Madison_McGee on everything, Twitter, Instagram. I have a TikTok, but I don't have any posts. I like to scroll. But maybe I'll start making TikTok. I don't know. But Instagram is kind of where I'm at. And I have a podcast called On the Block, which covers Big Brother. We are not covering Celebrity Big Brother because I'm working on a couple other things on the side that will be coming out soon. So not covering Celebrity just because, like you said, it is a hassle and a half. So hopefully we'll be back this summer. And yeah, I'll be selling shirts that say "and another thing" very soon.
That's exactly. We'll just, and we'll have to get merch. We'll have to get the merch together. That's the only way, aside from this, Drew, we're gonna go into Big Brother Canada pretty soon too.
Good luck with that, man. Canadians are crazy. Just saying.
We know we have one on the show.
Can I also say this? It's a pleasure sitting with you, beautiful women. By the way, this is super fine women and smart and intelligent. As well, I shouldn't objectify women.
Try.
I appreciate all the hot takes and comedy as well. Very entertaining.
You shouldn't. Oh my gosh! Thank you so much. I can't pronounce your name because I was like Terry. I think it's Terry. GSF. Let me know if I pronounce that right. So worth getting up early for this. Thank you so much for getting up early with us. We know that we have such random days and times. BB Celeb is so random and super crazy. Let us know in the comments who you think is going to leave on Tuesday. And then on Tuesday, we're also going to give you updates on our little draft. We had a draft, Madison, and
pretty good.
I lost Chris Kirkpatrick. Unfortunately, he was, but I still got Carson. So I'm doing pretty well.
Do you get points if they win AFP?
Sure.
Then you're winning.
We do now.
We do now, if that helps me. But also the fans out there have Misha Tate. So actually all of our followers are Misha Tate stan accounts.
And busy too.
Busy. Oh, busy, yes. Busy and the subscribers.
Oh, he drafted Misha. That's why he's such a stan.
I mean, it could be. He didn't draft her. We gave him to her because he wasn't a part of the draft, but he couldn't.
He happily accepted.
But he happily accepted. He couldn't pick, but
oh my gosh.
But the followers are at this point, I think, still in the running for winning the draft because Misha is still in the game and she's won 2 HOHs. So depending on whether or not she wins the veto, this could be a whole hot mess. So I think it'll be exciting to kind of go through draft results on Tuesday. That'll be an interesting thing to do. And then, and so we're gearing up. We're thinking about doing Survivor recaps. I'll do that with Kemi. Woo!
Yes, you got a lot of TV to watch,
We're
yo.
going to be recapping Big Brother Canada. And
you're still doing RuPaul.
We had to let go of RuPaul. I feel so bad. Well, I mean, the whole Braden, Busy, myself, and the schedules, and especially because RuPaul's on Fridays, and it's on Big Brother. You know, it's during Big Brother time. It was nearly impossible.
Totally.
So sorry, I dropped the ball on that. We're really trying here. But that's why it's so important to like and comment and help us get the algorithm going. Share it with people that you think that would like it, that love to talk game, that love to watch shows, that like to talk shit, like all that good stuff.
Yeah, if you want to hear someone who's never played, who has lots of opinions, like and subscribe.
We love it. You know, we love it because, you know, like I like the fact that there's a few of us that have played. We're all in different levels of gameplay, you know. And then we have people who haven't played that are just really like avid watchers and supporters and fans, because you know what? Fans become players, and then you have fans like THRU that play, and then you have fans like Shayna that play, you know. And so it's kind of like in our minds, it's like you can have someone that ends up playing like Frenchie, or someone who ends up playing again like Shayna, and then just makes us just so happy to watch a live feeder and a super fan play. Because when we watch a super fan play, it's like I expect them to play like Shayna. Like that's how I want them to play. I want them to play old school Big Brother. I want them to play both sides. I want them to be like cutthroat but smart, but you know, not messy.
Totally.
I mean, I love mess. I love a mess. We all love a mess, right? We would love to see
love
that.
mess.
I love mess. I love it as long as I'm not in it, as long as I can talk about it, you know. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's always the best part, is that we are talking. And disclaimer, I would want to say that we all respectfully, you know, like and I don't know.
Let's wrap it up, Jess. Stop it. Let's wrap it up. All right. Come on now. We're talking trash. Join us. Follow for notifications. You know, we got the hottest podcast in the streets. The underground needs to let everyone know. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, subscribe. And we'll see you Tuesday. We'll see you Tuesday, right?
Yes. See, look at this. I needed a man like Drew to just
girl. Come on now. Come on.
He's telling me that's it. It's a wrap. It's a wrap box. Okay. We love you all. Thank you for joining.